Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. As we do every Wednesday evening, Rich Savinci is going to be with us here in just a minute, talking about consultants in the workplace. You'll definitely want to listen to that. He'll be with us. He always has an interesting topic. He's a great researcher. Want to remind everybody that we offer a free book on how to find a job. All you got to do is email me, Tony@babbich.com, TONY@BABICH.com, and we'll send you a free book on how to find a job. You can give it away as a gift, a Christmas present, or for yourself, or for your family, or for anybody you know. We're more than happy to. We'll send it to you. Do include your address. One guy said I want a free book, and he sent me his name, didn't send me his address. Not good. I can't send one if they don't have an address. One thing I wanted to talk about in this time of cheer, Christmas cheer, because Christmas is going to come up here in a couple of weeks, is there are Christmas parties and there are New Year's parties. And oftentimes, if you're a candidate at a company, you oftentimes get invited to these parties. My recommendation is don't go. Social events, along with interviewing events, don't mix very well. I'll tell you about some experiences I've had on those in a minute, but I don't like them. I don't like social and business events when you're interviewing. I don't like them when you're not interviewing either. But when you're already part of a company, it's great. It's fine. It's no problem because you're already part of the team. But before you are part of a team, you are still interviewing, and people are making a judgment about you, even in a social situation, even when you go to lunch, even when you go to dinner, even when you go to a social event with a company, happy hour, anything like that. But especially at Christmas parties or New Year's parties, you're being judged. And it may be unfair, but you're being judged how you manage yourself socially. So if you're in the process of interviewing with a company and they invite you to their Christmas party or their New Year's Eve party or their New Year's Eve luncheon or their Christmas luncheon or whatever, I would recommend you respectfully decline and tell them you have another commitment that day, at that time, at that evening, and you wouldn't be able to attend. You'd love to. Too many things can go wrong. I've had situations where candidates drank too much, even though I recommend you go. If you go to those things, if you decide you go, don't drink. You can't afford to be judged that way. You don't know what you'll do. People, I've had candidates drink too much. I've had candidates' spouses drink too much, both male and female. I've had candidates' spouses flirt with people. I've had candidates get in arguments with their spouses at social events when they were being judged. They didn't get hired. Too many things can go wrong. Don't do it. So even though it seems like the nice thing to do, it's not a good idea to do it at all. Too many things can go wrong. You're being judged whether you like it or not. And worst of all, you're being judged by not just the people you're going to go to work for, but the people you're going to go to work with. And I've had instances where people that were going to be peers of the candidate tell the hiring authority they didn't like them. They didn't like their spouses. They didn't like their dates. They didn't like their, I had one situation, I think I mentioned this before, where the candidate didn't get hired because the CEO found out that his live-in girlfriend, his fiance, was showing up at the party with him, and he thought it was immoral, so he decided not to hire the guy. Perfectly within his right to do it. You may agree with it, you may not, but it's his prerogative. Most 95% of the time, anything that goes on in those social situations can go wrong. And it's not worth it. It's just not worth the effort. It's not worth the risk. Now, once you're a member of the company, you don't run into as much of a problem. But before you're a member of the company, it's better to just be graceful, be smart, and just, son of a gun, wish I could, but we already have a commitment that night or that day or that time or whatever. And I wish I could, but I'm sorry. If worse comes to worse and you feel like you have to, show up for about 10 minutes and then go on to your other commitment if you have to. But my word of advice is don't do it. It's not worth the effort. It's not worth the risk of making a mistake, especially, look, you're still being interviewed. You're still being judged. You're still being evaluated by the company and by the people in them. So please do yourself a favor and avoid those things if you can. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashir with the Job Search Solution.